Hello, my fellow entrepreneurs. It's Alex from Business Rocket, and today we're going to discuss how to start an LLC in California. None of that AI generated content. Actually, what are the 7 steps to focus on when you're trying to start a company in California, specifically an LLC? We're going to try to break it down and make sure it's in layman's terms, very simple to understand for everybody. But if you still have questions, you can leave them below. We'll make sure we get the answers over to you. So now, let's get into it. Step 1 of how to start an LLC in California is choosing the company name. The first thing you want to do is go to the California Secretary of State website and utilize the business search. Now we're going to leave it in the description below, the link to the business search, and you can use it for yourself. It's a pretty easy search to use. A couple things to remember though. Number 1 is California has corporations and LLCs all on the same search, but the requirements for the names are quite different. So an LLC and a corporation have different requirements for names, meaning that you can actually have the same company name be a corporation and an LLC. So for example, if you have a company called Ace Trucking, you could have an Ace Trucking Inc. and an Ace Trucking LLC both be active in California. Most states are not like that, but California is. Plus, in California, LLCs are not under such scrutiny when it comes to the name. So for example, if you're trying to create an LLC called Ace Trucking and another company already exists under that name, you can simply make your company Ace Truck LLC and it'll still work. But what happens if the name you're looking for, you find that the companies that are there are all suspended or terminated? Can you actually use the company name? The answer is yes, you can. The old companies that are out there that are suspended or terminated actually lost their rights to that name. So you can actually register the same company name that they had before. If they ever wanted to reinstate themselves, they would be forced to have to change their company name and you get to keep your name. The only issue you're going to run into sometimes is when you're going to go to the IRS and you're going to try to get your EIN number. In that scenario, the IRS may not know that in California, that company previously is suspended or terminated. So they still think that that company exists. You're going to have to go through a process where you verify ownership and show to the IRS that your ownership is different than the old ownership, and then they will give you a new EIN number. That process generally takes about 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks, but it can be done. And once that is done, you're going to have a brand new company in California with a brand new EIN number, and you're going to be completely set up the way you want to be set up. Now, if you do choose a name that's a little bit different than the previous company name, you will get the EIN number right away. You don't have to wait 3 to 4 weeks. Finally, before you register the LLC name, the one thing to consider is that each LLC name in California needs to have an LLC designated ending, which means that you have to write what type of company it is inside the name. So you have to use a designation like LLC, L.L.C, or LLC spelled out, LTD. There's a few other ones. My recommendation is just keep it simple, use LLC. It's nice and short, it's easy to write, and it's good for banks. So hopefully this information was helpful for you. For the name availability, we're going to go on to step number 2. Step number 2 from when starting an LLC in California is appointing a registered agent. Now, you can be your own registered agent, or you can hire a friend, you can hire a professional company. The only requirement is that the registered agent lives or works in California and has an address in California where he's available during business hours from 9 to 5 or whatever your business hours are, and they can accept documents on behalf of the company. These documents are generally going to be documents from the state or from a legal document that's being sent to your company. The registered agent's responsibilities are simply to accept these documents and then give it to the owner of the company. The registered agent is not responsible for any operations of the actual company itself. My suggestion is, if you can, be your own registered agent. That way you save some money. You don't have to pay somebody on a yearly basis to be your registered agent for you. But if you just don't want to list your information online, you don't want to make it so easily accessible, you can always hire us at Business Rocket to be your registered agent. With any formation package, we offer it for free for the first year, and it's only $99 thereafter. Registered agents are good because we actually decipher all the documents that you receive. We scan everything into the system and only give you the important documents. When you are your own registered agent, you might get a lot of junk mail that looks kind of legitimate, where they ask you to pay $79 or $129. Kind of gets a little bit painful to see which one is actually real, which one is not. So we do that job for you. Step number 3 to how to start an LLC in California is to file your articles of organization. Now, this is a document that's filed in the Secretary of State website of California. Again, we're going to put the link below. And this document costs $70 to file, and there's a $6 certified copy fee. I do recommend you get the certified copy fee because most banks require you to have a certified copy. But what are the articles of organization? It's really just like the birth certificate of your company. It covers the very few basic informations about your business. Like, for example, what is the company name? What is the business address? Who's the registered agent? How is the company going to be managed? And what date it's going to be filed on. That's it. Once that document is filed, your company is born in the state of California. Step number 4 of starting an LLC in California is the most underrated, but the most important step of them all. It's your operating agreement. This is an internal document that's actually not even required in the state of California, but it's highly recommended because this is the document that establishes the liability protection of your company. Don't forget, when an LLC is first created, this is just a shell. It doesn't have any liability protection. It doesn't have any voting rights. rights. It doesn't have anything at all in the company. The operating agreement is what establishes all the rules and regulations pertaining to California of how your company is going to operate. It's going to establish what happens in disputes. It's going to establish what happens with liability protection, who has voting rights, who has share distribution rights, what happens when you make a profit, things of that nature. So the operating agreement is very important for you to run your company correctly based on the rules and regulations of California. Now, our operating agreement at Business Rocket is about 30 pages long for a single member LLC and about 60 pages long for a multi-member LLC. I don't recommend writing an operating agreement yourself. You can try to use in the link below. We're going to have some examples of operating agreements for you, but definitely hire a professional to do the operating agreement. You can always call us. We'll help you with that as well. Step number 5 in starting an LLC in California is obtaining your IRS EIN number, the employer identification number. Now, this is the number that's very similar to the social security number that a person has, but the EIN number for the business allows the company to do actually financial transactions. What that means is like opening bank accounts, hiring employees, getting loans, things of that nature, and even doing your taxes. Now, the IRS EIN number is pretty simple to get, and we're going to share the link below on how to get the IRS EIN number. But if you're doing the EIN number yourself, be very careful, because when you're doing the EIN number, you have to designate your company and tell the IRS how you're going to be taxed. The options are you going to be taxed as a disregarded entity, as a partnership, as a C Corp, or as an S Corp? The LLC has different ways of being taxed, and you're going to let the IRS know what you're going to be taxed like. Issue here is when you're doing your taxes next year, if those two things don't match, your taxes are going to get rejected and you have to do additional documents to change your classification. So you want to do it correctly right from the start. So consult with a professional, make sure they set you up correctly, and you do the EIN number the way your company is supposed to be. We also have some videos on our channel about which classification is best for which types of entities. Make sure you watch our videos and get that information for yourself. Step number 6 of starting an LLC in California is filing your FinCEN BOI report, the Beneficial Ownership Information Report. However, as of the date of this video, the report is currently optional. It's not required. There's currently an appeal that's going on and they're not requiring the report, but they do recommend you still file the report. At Business Rocket, we also recommend you file the report because if they do make it a requirement in the future, you miss that statement, they're going to impose really heavy penalties. So you might as well just file the report. The report is pretty simple. It just covers the name of the company, the ownership of the company, the address of the company, and when that ownership changes, you have to file a new BOI report. But if you're going to file the BOI report yourself, make sure you keep a couple of things in mind. There's nuances in the report. Number 1 is not every owner may need to be added to the report. Number 2, certain married individuals may need to add their spouse to the report. So definitely consult a professional before filing the report. If you need our help, reach out to us. We file the report for you for existing entities or for new entities. And finally, step number 7, starting an LLC in California is filing your annual report. In California, LLCs are required to file an annual report every other year. However, they have a requirement that the first annual report needs to be filed 90 days after the company is created. So make sure you get that report filed. It's also filed with the California Secretary of State. The report is only $20 and they have a $6 certified copy fee. Same thing as the articles of organization. I do recommend you get that certified copy because most banks are going to require that certified copy to have on file. After doing these 7 steps, your company is finally fully active in California. The last pro tip I would say is contact your city where your business is located in and ask them if they have any specialty licenses and permits for your type of company. City licenses are based on business activity and where your company is located in. Not every city has them. Not every business activity is required to have it. So after your company is created and registered, just call your local city and see, do you need an actual business license or not? Hopefully this video is helpful. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We would love to help you. We've created over 50,000 companies, but videos like this are intended for you to be able to do it yourself. Now, if you do create the LLC yourself, you can always come to businessrocket.com. We have a free compliance platform. What that is you register your company with us, and we will let you know when your state and federal compliance is due for your company and help you kind of keep up with the deadlines. Till next time, and if you have any questions, leave them below. We're here to help you.